I just fancied doing this because I can. I've obviously not done any live streams for the best part of a fortnight, so I thought, I just fancy a little chat. If anyone's out there and wants to join in, they do, and if they don't, then it is what it is. Anyway, do my usual bit of housekeeping. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. You know the drill by now. You guys that have been here for a while. Whatever. Okay, so just a few little things that have been going on in the last few days. I just thought we do a little back and forth on a few of the stories. I've got 3 stories. We'll go with the hat trick. Oh, we got in the comments. Oh, hello, Mr. Walsh. How are you? No, the sun is necessary, my friend. It needs to be there to grow plants and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what, since you're there, and you might tell me that it's a bad idea, I'll tell you what I'll do for you. I'll send you the link. If you want to jump on and join me, old mate, you can, because you're West Ham YouTube royalty as far as I'm concerned. So let me find the link. And if you choose not to come on, then that's entirely up to you, my friend. But I am going to send you a WhatsApp. There he is. Right. If you want to come on, mate, please feel free. And if you don't, like I say, I'm just doing this completely off the cuff. Okay, so here we go. Here's the first story I want to talk about. Let's go full screen with this. So the news has been broken in the last couple of hours that David Moyes and Declan Rice, as it says there on the headline, have been banned from West Ham's UEFA Europa Conference League playoff. So yeah, obviously this comes in the wake of the Frankfurt game when we all saw the video of Declan Rice went off. We've lost the game 1-0. We've lost the tie 3-1. And he goes off and he says some very choice phrases to the referee, which, to be honest with you, given the referee's performance that particular night, I don't really blame him. I don't condone it. I mean, look, you know, he was. I've got to be honest with you. As far as I was concerned, I don't think that it's probably the swearing that's probably got him in the car. It's probably more the fact that he's said that basically the guy's corrupt. I think that's probably where the line was crossed with UEFA, and then it obviously goes viral. UEFA have then got to do something or be seen to be doing something. As it says there, Declan Rice, David Moyes have been banned for our Conference League playoff. For those of you that are not aware, we don't go into the group stage like we did in the Europa League. We go into a playoff round, which from memory, I think is the 18th and 25th of August. The draw is the 1st or 2nd of August. And David Moyes will be missing for the first leg of that particular tie. Declan Rice will be missing for both the home and the away leg of that particular tie. I got to be honest with you, I think it could have been a lot worse. I mean, as it says there, video emerged showing Hammers Talisman Rice berating the referee in the tunnel. We were denied a dream European final against Rangers. I've got to be honest, I think we'd have probably won that. I think I know that comment will probably not be very popular with Rangers fans, but I think that we would have had a shot. I've got to be honest, if we'd have got there. But obviously, Declan Rice comes off. He aims his frustration at the Spanish referee by the name of Jesus Gil Manzano. And obviously told him he was very, very bad. A few bleeps, and like I say, he basically alluded to the fact or implied that he had been bought. Obviously, Cresswell got a red card. We lost 1-0. Very, very frustrating. From Moyes' point of view, he's been done for volleying the ball at a ball boy. It was first thought that it was a girl, but it was a boy with long hair, whatever. So yeah, I mean, look, I think this was something that I could see coming, and yeah, Charlie, what are your thoughts on it, mate?
Moyes' ban is correct. You can't do that. You just can't. Facts are the facts, right? The Rice one, yeah. I mean, listen, if he has been shouting at him that he's corrupt, then again, I don't think you can particularly blame the thing. I always tend to. I don't tend to. I'm quite. I don't want to say unique, but I don't tend to look at refereeing performances too much. I think it's just a fact of the game. I'm just like, whatever happens, happens. I think it all balances out in the grand scheme of things in the long term. So I don't tend to put too much stock into judging referees' performances. So I don't really remember that day what the refereeing was like at all. To be honest with you, it doesn't even cross my mind. But personally, if he has said that, then yeah, probably for the best. And let's be real. If there were two games we would want it to be for, it'd probably be those two. So we'll take that. But yeah, that's kind of my overarching opinion on it, I guess.
Yeah, I just think, like I say, I got to be honest. When I first saw the video of Rice going into the tunnel, you're so bad, probably been effing bought. If I'm going completely from memory,
yeah,
I just thought, ooh, like I say, I don't think it was the swearing. I think swearing, like I say, you could turn around and say it's not very nice and all the rest of it is quite vulgar, this, that, and the other. That's fine. But let's be honest about it. Industrial language is part and parcel of football. So I'm sure that referee has heard F words many, many times in the past and will hear F words many, many times in the future. I think the moment that Declan Rice implied that the referee had been bought, it's not going to end well. I actually thought he was going to get done a lot worse. I think 2 games, I'm quite, like you say, I'm quite happy with that because I think, number one, it could have been a lot worse. Number 2, as you say, it's in a playoff round of the Conference League when, to be honest with you, the caliber of the teams that we should be facing, it should be that we should be able to handle them without Declan Rice, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for me, I don't see it as an easy game, but I see it as the best game to miss. It's frustrating, obviously, because they're the ones that will decide whether or not we get into Europe. And I think next season becomes a lot. You know, at the end of this season, right? There was a lot of, at the end of it, we all felt that sort of like, it was all very disappointing because we'd lost and we flopped it right at the end. But ultimately, you look at it and you go, Jesus Christ, what a season, right? If we were to start by not getting through to the group stages, that all of a sudden puts a different perspective, spin, whatever you want to say, on the entire season. All of a sudden, you're thinking, right, we've got to do things in the cup. We've got to come in these positions in the league. All of this sort of stuff, and I think it's going to be. I think it's annoying because, like, in my opinion, you put your strongest team out in those 2 games. It's like, no doubt, even if it is a team that we think we can get over, recent history suggests that when we come up against teams like Astra Jiju, who we think we should just steamroller us, they do us in, because the truth is they earn their right to be there. They play their right. They earn the right to be there. And that means that they're going to come and they're going to fight for it. So obviously you'd want your captain in there. But if you are going to pick 2 games for him to miss, it would be those 2 games. So yeah, it spins and roundabouts a little bit, but listen, he was angry, he lashed out, and now he's paying the consequences for it. It is what it is. Sometimes you just got to take your knocks.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's not something. I mean, I can't condone what Deck did. I can understand it. However, in the heat of the moment, we've gone out of Europe. He's het up. We've had a player sent off.
Yeah,
he's sort of reacted. He probably now, if you probably spoke to him now, he'd probably go, "Yeah, I regret it." But you know, it is what it is. In the heat of the moment, you say things. We've all done it in certain situations where we've said something that you then sort of like look back on and go, "Oh, that I wish I hadn't. I wish those words hadn't have left my lips, or I hadn't have wrote that email or sent that WhatsApp message." We've all done it. Let's not kid ourselves. It's just that he did it in the wake of a UEFA semi-final, and it got caught on camera and went viral.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
When you're under the microscope, it's the way it goes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So that's that story that I wanted to just have a little bit of a chat about. Next story is a little bit interesting, and this has been something that's been quite protracted. And hopefully, if the stories are to be believed, they're now coming to an end, and that's that the Aguerd deal is done. I don't think it's done, but it's done-ish. I think. I don't know what to make of it, Charlie. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, a lot of people that seem to be that are very well connected, and I've had a few conversations with a few people today whose opinions I greatly respect. But just I'm just sort of one of these people that I guess maybe I've become old and cynical, and it's like until it's announced by the club, I'm not going to believe it 100%. Do you know what I mean?
I saw your messages in the Addicts group chat earlier saying much to the same effect. I can appreciate that. No, I think it's a reasonable stance to take. Mainly, look, realistically, it's one of those things where I think now is the time you can get excited, because I feel like it looks. Look, if he's at the training ground and they've gone to the bother of actually, like, not just doing the medical, but actually setting up stuff for doing photo shoots and all that sort of palaver, then you are probably at the stage where you can be safe enough to go, I think this is going to go through. I'm pretty confident, but I don't blame you. I don't think it's an unfair stance to take. By the way, Anton, I think that's bang on, to be fair. I don't think it's an unfair stance to take, but at this point, it seems to be happening. And I'm quite excited. I can't lie. I am actually I wasn't at first. And the money still frustrates me, but I can't lie. I'm at the point now where I'm thinking, I'm starting to see Aguerd and Zoom. I'm starting to feel it. I'm liking it, guys. I'm like, the excitement levels for me are rising.
How much of this fella have you actually seen up close and personal, Charlie? Have you seen
not enough?
Too much?
Not enough. I have seen him a couple of times, but I wouldn't say anywhere near. He played fine in the games I watched, but it wasn't like ones where he where I looked at, and it wasn't to watch him. Like, this was before we'd been linked, and I'd seen him and I was like, oh, there's a good challenge here and there or whatever, but I wasn't really deep to an extent where I would be now if I was watching one of his games to really think about it. But he seems all right. But I think what excites me about it is, well, one, if we can finally sort out the centre backs, then Moyes can start buying players in other positions, which would be very exciting. But also, if this is truly his number one target, which it seems to be, like, I know there's talks about other players in other positions that might be more, what's the phrase, marquee, I guess, if you want to word it like that, right? They might exist. But this seems to be the guy that from the get-go this summer, we were like, right, we are signing this guy. It is happening. And we've put all of our eggs into signing it. And probably for the first time in a while, since maybe Anderson, where we've actually gone out and got our first choice signing from the get-go, if you know what I mean. Because it never happens. And even before then, it never happened. I think Anderson was a bit of a fluke in many ways. So, yeah, that's what's really exciting for me, is going, sweet. This seems to be the guy, because you know me, I'm not Moyes' biggest fan, but we do have to back the manager, we do have to give him what he wants to succeed, and if that is a formidable centre back partnership, hopefully, at least price wise, Jesus Christ, it should be. So yeah, I'm excited about it, even though I haven't seen too much of it. It's all too much of him specifically. Called him it there, very rude of me. Even though I haven't seen too much of him, it's everything around it that makes me go, ooh, okay, all right, here we go, we're moving.
How much of are you a big one for when you mentioned it earlier about the term marquee signing?
Yes.
I mean, is that something that's really a big deal to you? I mean, do you think there needs to be that marquee / statement signing? I mean, is that really the be all and the end all of it?
Nah, not for me. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. I love a marquee signing in the moment. We can all have a grand old time and go, come on, look at what we've done. It's always
we've signed Felipe Anderson.
Yeah, yes, we've Sebastian Haller. We signed this person. It's like things that happen. But we've had the conversation about me thinking we don't have that much money to spend this summer before, and I think this idea of a marquee signing it worries me, because I'm like, and even this deal worries me, even though it's only 20 million or whatever to begin with, that still worries me about the amount we're putting into one thing, where we have a lot of bits and pieces that are needed. If you said to me at the end of this summer, we could have, I don't know, 5 or 6 players that were all worth sort of 10 to 15 million, but we've really filled out the squad with people Moyes trusts and likes, even if a couple of them are Adnan Januzaj likes or whatever, then I would much prefer that than getting 140 mil whatever, striker, whoever, and then having to patchwork the rest of it. Because I really do think what we need to do now is be concentrating on filling out this squad. Because, man, it's going to be a long old season otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of, as I'm sure you're aware, sort of like there's been many times this season where there's been a game that has gone a certain way and you're looking and you're waiting for David Moyes to make a substitution.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. And you look and you go, well, who's on the substitutes bench? And it's like, well, we got 2 goalkeepers, we got a couple of left backs, we got, you know what I mean? It's like there's no one there that fundamentally is going to change the game if you're chasing it. And the offensive options that he's got on there, which you could argue are players that he's brought in, the likes of Vlasic or Ben Rama, you know, but were they actually his signings?
Yeah.
I don't know. The jury's out on that one, but he needs to have players on the substitutes bench fundamentally that he trusts. And I don't have the faith that well, it's not a question of I don't have the faith. The evidence is there. You know, there's been games that we've been chasing and you need to change the game. And he looks and says, no, thank you. So I think he needs to have players on the bench, whether they're a £10 million signing or a £50 million signing. To be honest, as far as I'm concerned, it's neither here nor there. I just want to have people on the bench, or whether they're people that are going onto the bench or whether they're people that are going to walk straight into the first 11 and relegate the incumbents down to the bench. But they're, you know, like, for example, if we get a left winger, a left midfielder in that then drops Pablo Fornals down to the bench, you know that he's going to look at Pablo Fornals in a match and go, I trust you, you know, if the situation's right, to go on and do a job for me. Whereas you've got Vlasic on the bench, you've got no faith that you trust the guy.
I think it's, and yes, and I think more importantly to me, even more than the subs thing, because the subs thing infuriates me to know it. If anyone's ever watched the watch-alongs, they'll know that I just scream and holler about the subs non-stop because it sends me up the wall, right? But I can't act like there isn't part of me that thinks Dave Moyes just doesn't want to do substitutions and that's just the way he moves, which is whatever, that's fine, right? But the thing that would change it for me is being able to rotate significantly. Like, for example, what Anton said earlier, right? About learning to play without your best players, which is 100% accurate, 100% true. Who is it past Souček and Rice? We don't really know. Like, we saw Crowell was in the squad and he just never really played any games. Well, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, right? He never. And it's not a case of him not getting substituted on, although that is obviously part of it. It's, you know, he didn't start at all, really. And having someone who he can turn to and go, okay, even if I'm not the biggest subs guy, I can rotate a little bit. I can put this person in. I can do this. I can do that. That is the thing that's really gonna mean we can carry on going all throughout the season. Because I know we've done incredibly the last 2 years, despite the fact we've basically played the exact same 13, 14 players. 14 suggests we did 3 subs. That's a lie. 13, sometimes 12 players in practically every single game. And we've still managed to keep pushing until the very end. And I know that's something we have done, and the fitness levels have been incredibly impressive. That can't last forever. And we've seen, and there has been a huge conversation this year about people like Thomas Souček, who basically has not stopped playing for what feels like his entire life. Yeah. If we had someone who's just more trustworthy, who we can rotate with, even if that's not substituting, just starting instead, then that would be golden. And the problem is, again, we don't have a lot of money, so those people are going to have to be. We're going to have to. I think the process is filling the squad out with maybe one £20 million player a window or a year, and then a lot of sort of workhorses who Moyes trusts to just get on there and do the job that they need to do. And I think that's probably where someone like Adnan Januzaj comes in. I would take him in a heartbeat, Anton. I can't lie to you.
Wouldn't that be embarrassing, though?
Yeah, but who cares?
No disrespect, and I'm not being disrespectful to Josh Cullen when I say that, because I I'm possibly one of the people that thinks that maybe we shouldn't have let him go. But I just think
I didn't know.
It's like when Manchester United bought Paul Pogba back for 80, 90 million, a player that they let go for nothing. We've let Josh Cullen go. Was it 800,000, £1 million?
It wasn't.
Something like
I don't even think it hit 1 million. I don't even think it hit 1 million. Yeah.
It was somewhere sort of like in that sort of realm, I believe.
Yeah.
And talk he might come back, and I think I've heard 5-8 million quid, whatever. I don't know, but
honestly, I'm okay with it. I understand it, but it's like these. I will, before I make this comparison, I am not saying Josh Cullen is as good as Gerard Piqué. Okay, I'm not saying that. I know that's a wild thing to say, but do you?
It's not the first time you've done it.
Do you think? Listen, both beautiful men. Josh Cullen, I've heard getting with Shakira after. Yeah, that's a separate thing.
I look at you want to tell me?
Do you reckon? You'd be speaking to Josh on Instagram. Do you reckon that they felt any shame bringing him back? Because I think actually it's kind of part and parcel of the modern game. I think part of what we need to do is I love seeing English players and British players in general go abroad. It's one of the best things I ever like, because we're so insular, and then you get to see the likes of Jadon Sancho, Jude Bellingham, people like that going to different countries, going to different places abroad and actually making their name, like Josh Cullen has. Is Josh Cullen good enough? Honestly, I can't tell you. I honestly can't. I've seen none of Anderlecht since he's been there. I saw him score a penalty, I think, in a cup game. And that's it, I think it was. But I really would like to see, I love the idea of someone going out, proving us. Same with Reece Oxford to some extent. I would love the idea of seeing someone go out, prove themselves, and us going, do you know what? Yes, he needs to come back. And look, listen, do we lose a couple of million in the transaction? Yeah, we do. But if that is what it takes, then that's what it takes. It's like when we sell these rumors about Sonny Perkins, or he might, let's say he's in contracts and he gets sold, or whoever else it is from these youth players who are supposedly leaving, put buyback clauses in there. Why don't we do this stuff? I don't understand why we don't do it. It's such basic stuff. Every big team will do it. You see these players leave big clubs. Barcelona is a great example. Every player who leaves Barcelona has a buyback clause in their contract that says, well, if you go away and then you do brilliantly, then we can get you back for a reasonable enough fee. Bojan went back and forth to Barcelona like 4 different times. And it's that sort of thing where I feel like we should be doing that. We should, because look, not a lot of these players are going to go on to be successful, but the ones who do, I don't think we should have any shame in bringing them back. If anything, I think it's something we should be happy with. City do it. Every big club does it. Almost every big club will put these clauses in. Chelsea, sometimes they turn it down and then go on to regret it. But yeah, I just think it should be something we should do and be happy about. There's nothing that makes me happier than seeing someone like Josh Cullen or Reece Oxford go abroad, become successful, and then if we were to bring them back and we go back, academy boy, done good, now he's here, let's go. I'd be hyped about that, even though I haven't watched Anderlecht at all and can't really speak to,
Fair. Just to address the Hammerhead's point, yeah, it is X that's reported it, or at least that's one avenue that I've seen.
I've seen a lot of people do, like Steinberg, the Guardian's reported it now.
Yeah,
X there's a whole bunch.
It's not just X, but X is one of a number of people. Hammerhead. I know you say in your, as you've stated there, in your belief he's a waffle merchant, and you're entitled to that opinion. That's fine. I'm not gonna make a judgment on that statement, but we'll see. I mean, if what I've been led to believe is the case, the announcement is going to be done by Monday. Is that right, Charlie?
As far as I'm aware,
yeah. Anton says
done on Monday potentially.
Yeah.
We'll see.
If he hadn't, this is about Josh Cullen. If he hadn't had any history of West Ham, we'd be all over him. Played 70 plus games for Anderlecht, top of the charts for stats, proper engine. Went away and got experience. Yeah, he did. Like I say, I'm not saying he's a crap player or anything, Anton, but I just think from a club PR point of view, going back to a player that you've let go of very, relatively recently for a pittance, and then buying him back for a vastly inflated sum, I just sort of think, Jesus, it's typical West Ham, isn't it?
But to be fair, the vastly inflated figure is only like you say, like 5 mil or whatever it would be in and around that figure. It's not like If it was like Pogba and you let him go for what was a couple of 100K and then you buy him back for 80 mil, there's levels to this game. Do you know what I mean? There's levels to this game. Whereas I think, with that, I don't know. I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. But hey, if he comes back and does bits, and I always liked him. I think we're probably similar on this. I always really liked him. I didn't want him to go in the first place. There was something about the way he played. There was something about his just attitude, his efforts, everything. I really liked him. I remember going to the last time we were in the qualifying stage for a European competition at Upton Park. And I remember watching him play there and him like hitting the bar from range and all this other sort of stuff. I'm watching him just being like, I feel like this kid is ready. I feel like we should just be giving him a shot. And we just never did. So yeah, maybe part of me is saying it because I just wanted to see him succeed, but
Yeah, fair. Right. Last story I wanted to cover, and it's probably, I would argue is it the biggest one of the three that I'm going to bring you? Well, you can decide. Yeah, the fixtures were announced yesterday. There they are in all their glory. Why do we always get or I say always, most of the time in the last 8 years, we've opened the Premier League season against a team where you've gone, I mean, it's Man City. It's like, it's only the defending champions, That's fine. There's no problem there, is there? But then again, there's some people that might turn around and say, do you know what? Actually, playing them first game of the season might not be a bad thing. Might actually work in our advantage because you can catch them cold. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, they lost the opening game of last season against Spuds, didn't they?
That sounds familiar to me. I'd have to double check, but it sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, I mean...
I personally don't mind going up against big teams at early doors. There's, like you say, the logic of you have to face them at some point anyway, so whatever, we move. But I think back to not a season that's just finished, but the season before that, where we had a horrendous run in to start. And everyone was like, oh, Jesus. And then we did absolutely incredibly.
Wasn't that the season before last?
Yeah, not the one that just finished, the one before that, yeah.
It was, trying to remember now. It was Newcastle at home, Arsenal away, Wolves at home, Leicester away, so on and so forth. Then I think it was Man City and Chelsea. I think we played, and it was. I think you think you're right. We all looked at it, or most of us fans looked at it and went, "Oh shit."
Yeah, and then we ended up coming out of it smelling of roses. And part of that is, and I know a lot of people disagree with me when I say that, I think we're better against big teams than we are against middling teams. If anything, I look at that run in, I look at August and September, for example, or even just August and up to Chelsea, right? The ones that worry me are Forest and Brighton the most, and arguably Villa.
Yeah,
I'm relatively Brighton. If anything, that doesn't worry me. We can write that off now. It's not happening, right?
Just don't even bother turning up.
Yeah, whatever, man. You want to see rotation? There's the game. Screw it. Who cares? But yeah, like Forest and Villa, like really concern me. Like City, look, we'll either smash them. They'll either smash us or we'll scrape a win. Take it either way. Tottenham, I'm relatively confident about. Teams like that, I'm relatively confident with. It's the ones in between that I'm a bit more concerned with. My problem is it's weird. I would either want this lineup or the beginning of this season anyway, to be either weaker than this or stronger than this. Because if it was stronger, then I'd be like, right, we just got to keep it going. Because I think that was something that benefited us in that run, was that we just kept having hard team after hard team after hard team. And it created this sort of like mentality of, right, we go again. We just keep it going. We keep the momentum going. Whereas here, it's like, will we feel like we can take a little bit of a step off against Nottingham Forest or against Brighton or against Villa? Maybe. I'm relatively confident with that start, but I'm also of the mindset in general that you have to play everyone at some point anyway. So
yeah. Is there any sort of phase of that season, the fixtures that you look at there, and you can see sort of like back to back games where you go, that's a sticky period? Is there anything there that you look at that sticks out?
No, I think we're all right. I think the spread's not too bad.
You're quite happy.
May concerns me a bit. I can't lie. I don't know what type of Brentford will come out this season. I would love to think they would do what they did this season again. or last season again, however you want to word it at this point. But out and like, it's just basically what I'm saying is Manchester United worries me. Leicester worries me because realistically, they'll be in the same run-in for whatever positions we're trying to fight for. Ideally, for us, we would be both be fighting for 7th, right? Or in and around those positions. So that's going to be a bit sticky. And then you have Manchester United and you have two potentially difficult games in between. But outside of that, I think we're relatively okay. I mean, you've got the odd double with like Chelsea and Tottenham or whatever, right? But I'm honestly, I think the spread's not too bad. It's relatively oscillating. There's no insanely hard period and there's no insanely easy period, in my opinion, I don't think.
Yeah. It's interesting that, I mean, Walshy made the point earlier. I'm sure it was Walshy. There it is. Liverpool get the promoted champions again. And Man United have got a home fixture for the 6th season in a row, I notice.
Oh, I heard that, yeah.
What you will.
I make nothing of it, but I like the drama of it all. I do like the drama of it all.
I'd like to know
what I mean?
Programming the computer.
I can't listen. Do I believe in any conspiracy theories, Gatesy? No. Does that mean I don't enjoy watching documentaries about them? Different story, mate.
Yeah.
I'll indulge in it as long as the day is long. But it's just, it is what it is. But I'm just like,
yeah. All I'll say about that one, Anton, is at least it wasn't the one in Woking. We've plumbed the depths.
Silver linings. It's Friday. It's Friday night.
I had to get that one in. It was an open goal.
I refuse to step to this. I refuse to step to this.
There you go. Looking at the first month, though, we'll just go with the first month. So I'll just for a little bit of entertainment. Charlie, in your opinion, home win, away win, or draw, Manchester City?
A City will beat us.
Okay, so first game in 0 point. Nul point. Nottingham Forest.
I'm going to prove myself wrong when I do this. Everything I've said and stood for is going to be dismantled. Nottingham Forest, it's away. So it's their first home game. That makes it more worrying to me. But I think that will force them to go for us and we'll beat them. Okay,
so we get 3 points there. You don't even think we're going to get maybe a point against Brighton?
Oh no, bruv.
Don't even go there.
You know, you all know this, right? Because you watch Hammer's chat videos. You know how Gio, it's drilled into my brain because we have this conversation so often. But you know that idea he says of bonus games and all of that. And you look at Manchester City, you go, right, that's a yeah, exactly. And then you look at City and it's like, listen, if you get points in that, that's bonus. You're not putting them down. Brighton is in that category for me. There's like 6 teams in that category, and Brighton are one of them. Man City are another. You just whatever happens in that game happens in that game. If we get some points, golden. We're having a grand old time. And I expect to get no. Good Lord, no. Fair. So 3 games, 3 points. Away at Villa. I think tricky. They're doing some business, aren't they? They are, but that doesn't really. Whether it's good is another matter. I think they're doing too much business, Gatesy. I think there's a thing, such a, when Fulham come up every year and then they buy 18,000 players and then they replace their entire first team and then they go straight back down again. Are they doing too much? Are they doing too much? I would maybe posit that they are. Again, they'll be at home. They're going to feel the need to gun for it. I think we beat them. Fair. And then there's some other team from some. I think they've got a place somewhere along the North Circular from us. I don't know. I've heard you can buy cheese there. Apparently so, and I believe they might play football occasionally. Who knows? Let's go with a draw because I don't know too much about them. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think there's someone that's not far from me that might follow them, but we'll leave that one there. So what's that? That's so you've gone 3 points at Forest. Yeah, 3 at Villa, 1 at Tottenham. So 7 points after 5 games. I suppose that's not drastically bad. It's not disastrous. No, I'd take that. I'd take that. That's not an awful start to the season when you've got Man City, some other team, and Brighton in there. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I'd take 7. Yeah. What would you? What's the minimum? What's the minimum? End of that month, end of August. What's the minimum that you would take where you go? Okay, we'll take that and we'll go.
I think 7 is a par score.
Okay.
I think, like you say, I think Nottingham Forest away. I say that maybe 5 to 7 points. I would suggest somewhere in that realm.
Okay.
Would be, I think, a par score. I think if we got away, like you say, you look at, and this is a Man City team that not very long ago we were 2-0 up at half time against and got a 2-2 draw.
Beating the cup.
But you don't expect to beat Man City. You just don't. This is me being completely realistic. Away at Forest, I think a point as a minimum. 3 points is realistic. Brighton at home, I think we're capable of getting a point. We're capable of getting all 3, probably not.
Will Basuma leaving have a great effect on them?
Listen, Graham Potter, I think, is an excellent manager. I think that if he's let Basuma go, I think he knows someone that's going to come in and do at least the job or better, hopefully, from their point of view. I mean, Graham Potter is one of the few managers operating in the Premier League right now that I think, if David Moyes, for whatever reason, left his job tomorrow, is realistically a candidate to come in that could do as good a job or possibly better.
Yeah, I think it'd be a risk just to style changes, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I would be.
But then it was a style change from Houghton to Potter himself at Brighton, and he's managed that transition very well.
Yeah, it took some time to get where they are, but yeah, no, I agree. I think he's smart enough to be able to manage that transition, but I don't know if how do I word this politely?
You don't have to. It's gone 9 o'clock.
I don't know if, as football fans, we're patient enough to allow that to happen. I think when you're Brighton and you've just come up and the expectations are for you to just about survive every year, I think that's a different scenario where you get the opportunity to slowly build something. Whereas with us, would you get an opportunity? I don't know if you would, fighting for Europe, because I think we're in an interesting position this year and going forward. I was speaking about this on Two Spanners yesterday, whenever it was. Whenever time, I don't understand when time happens, about the idea of like, in fact, I had this conversation with Joan in the comments of Two Spanners on the Patreon. After the top 6, you have us, you have Wolves, you have Leicester, you have potentially Aston Villa, you have potentially Everton if they get their act together, you have potentially Newcastle eventually. This is there's a whole group of teams that potentially takes you from 7th to 12th. And so let's say he came in and it took him, a bit of time, understandably, to sort of start molding something he really wanted to do. Realistically, you could go from a team who might finish 7th to finishing 12th, 13th, like that. And I don't know if we would have the patience for that. At the end of this season, we might have new owners and the situation might be completely different. And, we might have different goals in life. But right now, I don't know if we as a club would be patient enough to let that happen right now.
That's not just West Ham fans though, is it? That's modern football fans in general, isn't it?
Yeah, like I said, I think Brighton were in a position where their expectations were to survive. And as long as they were surviving, I think he could
we're a victim of our own relative success in essence.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And I think the same you could be said if you were a mid-table team. If you were a team who expected to finish, well, I say that technically we're in that mid-table group as I've just listed it out. But if you were a team who you weren't expected to push, let's say Southampton, and you were just surviving, there's a lot of conversations about Hasenhüttl at the moment, right?
Yep.
And I think there is victim of relative success, I think, is a good way of putting it. But yeah, that's not just West Ham fans. I think that's all football fans. You only have to listen. You only have to look at what's happening with Gareth Southgate at the moment. He's done unbelievably well in tournament after tournament. Listen, we don't need to deep that conversation too much, but he's done incredibly well tournament after tournament after tournament, taking us further than anyone else has since practically the World Cup when we won it. And 4 bad games, and all of a sudden, out on your high horse. If we are struggling, would we have the patience to do that? I don't think we would. Maybe if it was a different ownership where they outwardly say, look, we're giving the keys to someone to really try and mold this thing and try and create something of it, then yeah, sure. I think then we'd have maybe a bit of patience. The fans might not, but at least the football club might. But as now, I don't think that would happen. I said this last night, and this is probably a mistake, but I'd get in Benitez if Moyes left.
Ooh, really?
I think he's just a better version of David Moyes. Plays a similar style of football, gets the results out of players that he shouldn't do. Plays a similar style. He'd probably look at this squad and go, yeah, actually, I could do something with that. Whereas someone who plays a different style of football might see it and go, there's some players in there, but
there might be Everton fans that might disagree with that statement.
They have bigger problems than Rafa Benitez at that club. Rafa Benitez spent, what was it, £1 million, £1.4 million? That's that window. Aye, that's gonna help. That's gonna help you. But again, it's a different scenario, right? If we were getting in, I was gonna name a Millwall manager. Literally can't name a single one of them. If we were gonna get in
Gary Rowett,
there you go, Big Gazza Rowett, right? If we were gonna get him in, then maybe it would be a different scenario. But yeah, I think he's just a better version of Moyes, in my opinion. Yeah, don't get me wrong. If Charlie's in charge and he's not trying to realistically think about how transitioning squads and all of the moving parts and turning around the tanker works and all that nonsense, then mate, or put your money in Graham Potter, because he's my favorite manager in the Premier League right now. But if I'm being realistic about it, I can't see a better option out there.
Fair enough. Right, this was just like I say, an impromptu little thing. I've just done a recording with I'll give him a shout out with Bill West from Garage Football.
Ooh.
And I don't know when he's planning on kicking it out, so I was here doing a recording, and once I'd finished, I thought, I'm here now. I fancy sort of talking to people about so like I say, I didn't come on with any script. I've literally just gone bish bash bosh, hit record or hit go live, whatever, and here I am. So we've had a little chat, and Charlie, I thank you for jumping in.
No, thank you
as the sub, as you've put it there.
Thank you. I'm the person you trust. You know what I mean? I am potentially your Adnan Januzaj. Do you know what I mean? Had lots of promise. Well, there's that as well. Had lots of promise and potential when I was young. Squandered it all, and now, hey, I'm cheap. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
There you go. Anyway, little bit of housekeeping. Start as I finished. Or no, finish as I start. That's the one. Please don't forget to like, comment on, share the stream, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, guys, we thank you very much indeed for your support. Charlie, my friend, what are we?
Massive, bruv.
That'll do. Come on, you irons. And stay cool and stay hydrated.